not commanded you to come up hither to trifle with the words which I shall speak, but that ye should hearken unto me. I have not commanded you to come up hither that ye should fear me, or that ye should think that I, of myself...
Just a brief introduction here for the Book of Mosiah. In the Book of Mormon, I consider the Book of Mosiah to be the most unique book in the way it's written. All books have some uniqueness to them, but Mosiah is the one book that we have no specific writer for. There's nobody taking credit for writing Mosiah. You know, 1st and 2nd Nephi were written by Nephi, Jacob by Jacob, Jerem by Jerem, Enos by Enos, Omni by Omni, Amram, Chemish, Abinadab, and Amaleki. Alma was written by Alma and his sons. Helaman was written by Helaman II and his sons. 3rd Nephi was written by Nephi. 4th Nephi was written by Nephi, Amos, and I believe another Amram. And then we have, of course, Mormon and Moroni. Their books are all written. Who wrote Mosiah? It never states who wrote Mosiah. In addition, we always consider that the small plates are 1st Nephi through Omni. Then we have the words of Mormon in there to make a connection between the rest, between the records. And then it is assumed that Mosiah through 4th Nephi is the large plates. And then Mormon and Moroni kind of tack their stuff on at the end. But that's not entirely true. Now, Alma through 4th Nephi are the large plates. And actually even the Book of Mormon itself is an abridgment of part of the large plates, because Mormon added to the large plates before he made the gold plates that we get the Book of Mormon from. But the Book of Mosiah is not taken from the large plates, at least not solely from the large plates. Now it's called the Book of Mosiah because it starts in the year that Mosiah II becomes king. That's the only reason it's called the Book of Mosiah, because Mosiah himself writes one chapter in the entire book. And that's near the end when he sends out his proclamation to not persecute people. Oh, sorry, 2 chapters. Proclamation not to persecute people, and then his suggestion of the reign of the judges. Those are the only 2 things Mosiah writes in the entire book. The majority of the book is the record of Zeniff and his people. King Zeniff, then Noah, then Limhi. Their story is the majority of the book. And that is not taken from the large plates because they were not in Zarahemla. They kept their own records. And when they joined Zarahemla, their records weren't put on the large plates, but they were kept with the large plates. They were kept with all the rest of the sacred records. The same thing with Alma the Elder when he separates from the people of Limhi, when he flees from King Noah. He starts writing his own record, and his record is put with the rest of the holy records, but it is not put on the large plates. So what does the Book of Mosiah contain? Who wrote it, or who contributed to it? What do we have here? What records did Mormon use to compile the Book of Mosiah? Well, as I say, the large plates, they were used because they were the reign of the kings. And so Benjamin's great address at the beginning, chapters 1 through 5, I think it goes all the way through chapter 6. That's all from the large plates, from the record of the kings. Then we have the expedition of Ammon to go down and find the people of Zeniff. And we have kind of a mission log, probably kept by Ammon, of his journeys going down there. Then we have the record of the people of Limhi, which is chapters 9 through 22. That is 14 out of 30 chapters. Half of the book is the story of Limhi, or the records of Limhi from his father, Zeniff, Noah, Limhi. That record. That's about half the book. Then we have a number of chapters that is the story of Alma and his people. And then at that point, they rejoin the people in Zarahemla. And we get the last 3, maybe 4 chapters, again, from the large plates. So we have these 4 or 5 different records that are used to compile what we call the Book of Moses. That is why I call this the most unique book, because it is the one book that actually doesn't, that the majority of it does not come from the plates of Nephi. It comes from the records of Limhi and his people, and Alma and his people. That's the majority of the book. You'll also take note in this that a lot of this is written in the first person. Zeniff, at least for while he's alive, it's written very much like the small plates are. First person, we know this is what he wrote. Later on, especially the parts that do come from the large plates of Nephi, it's all in third person because it's Mormon abridging. Mormon didn't abridge the small plates, he just inserted them as is into the record. And it appears he did a similar thing with the records of the people of Zeniff because they were not part of the large plates. I put this in there because I find it very fascinating and helps us understand that Mosiah is mainly a flashback in history. We start with King Benjamin. He's old, he's dying, he dies 3 years after he gives his great address. And it is in the year that he dies, or possibly the next year, but very soon after, within a few months, they send Ammon and his people down to find Zeniff's people. Then we get the story of Zeniff's people. Now Ammon goes down in the year approximately 121 BC, which means that Benjamin gives his address in 124 BC. But Zeniff left approximately 200 BC, 75 years earlier. So we get this backflash of these 75 years. We know that Zeniff left while Amaleki was still alive. So now, since we're reading chronologically, we're going to read the story of Zeniff and his people first. So let us turn to Mosiah.
That the prayers of his servants might be answered according to their faith. Alma, go thy way, and seek to destroy the church no more, even if thou wilt of thyself be cast off.